welcome back to the Leeds Lens. It is the Friday night show, and to be honest with you, we've got quite a bit to get into this evening. We're going to talk of an update from Fabrizio Romano, leaking our injury news, for goodness sake. Daniel Farke's trying to play mind games. Fabrizio, can you just let us have it? Do we have to tell Scott Parker that Okafor isn't going to play before he isn't going to play? Are you that desperate for news? Just do a tweet about the fact that Garnacho's off to, I don't know, Saudi Arabia or something. Surely there's a story in that. Why do we have to talk about Okafor? Okafor clearly has links into, or Okafor's agents clearly have links into Fabrizio Romano. We saw it when we actually did the deal, and we've seen it since. Stay out of our news, will you? Unless you're reporting on Leeds United signing Messi or something, and then we can maybe get onto that. But yeah, I want to talk a bit about that and the impact that's going to have, because we're actually going to have to tweak the tactical plan I talked about yesterday when I talked about how Leeds United are going to set up, because obviously that's completely down the Swanee now. So that's brilliant. Cheers, Fabrizio. You've actually ruined my video as well. So we've actually got personal beef now, not just beef over Daniel Farke and Leeds United. We're also going to talk a bit about Leeds United in the January transfer window, because we've been linked to another player, a lad called Jens Petter Hauge, or Hague maybe Hague. And he is a Bodo Glimt left winger. He's having quite a good time of it. Actually appeared in the game against Spurs when they drew 2-2 a few weeks back. And he actually managed in that game to score a brace as well. So, you know, he's done it at a high level. We do need wingers. I think, for me, it's right wingers we need, but wingers definitely we do need. And I think if there's anything that shows that, it's going to be when I pop up what our team selection is going to look like tomorrow. And we've got Aaronson and Harrison on the wings. So, yeah, we do need a winger. And also, I don't know what's going on here. But I'm also in quite a good mood this evening, because football's back. Football is back. Thank the Lord. Thank the Lord. Stop international breaks until the new year. Let football have its place. Do more international breaks in the second half of the season or something. I can't stand the international breaks. Ruins the channel, ruins my enjoyment, ruins my weekend. Potentially United could ruin it tomorrow if they don't beat Burnley, but you know, it's better. It's still better. So yeah, I am in a positive mood, because we're back, and we should be in the back with a game that actually United can win as well. So I'm quite looking forward to tomorrow's game. But yeah, let's start by talking about Noah Okafor, because I think when we talk about this and break it down, there's quite a lot to discuss with Noah Okafor, because it's not just that sort of Noah Okafor is going to be missing and that's the story in itself. I think it takes you back to the transfer window. I think it takes you back to the lack of wingers. I think it takes you into January and what Leeds United need to do in the winger area in January as well, because I've talked about this on the channel. We've got to go get wingers in January for sure. Jack says evening, Scott, evening to you too. So I think there's a lot to talk about in terms of Okafor. We also need to talk about not just should Leeds United have bought more wingers in the summer, but should we have gone down the Okafor route and gone with a player that we know has a history of injuries as well, which are now starting to bite us? I'm not saying we shouldn't have done. I'm just saying that this is a conversation starter that we're going to get into today, because, yeah, I do think, especially with Okafor and DCL, this has almost been a conversation waiting to happen. It's been like I've almost had this video planned in my head for months now. When one of these two gets injured, what we're going to talk about. Also, there's the possibility that Ramazani as well. I don't know if we're going to talk about him too much because he's injured as well. But there's that situation as well with this. And so there's loads to get into with Okafor, is what I'm saying, in a roundabout way. So yeah, looks like, anyway, Okafor's going to miss, obviously, the game tomorrow. Well, he's going to miss the game tomorrow. And he's obviously 7 to 10 days. 7 days would mean he gets back for the West Ham game just. Or 10 days, he's obviously going to miss that game. I think that's why he said 7 to 10 days, because I think Romano doesn't want to look stupid if he does actually turn up at Ellen Road against West Ham on Friday night, and obviously won't be injured as much. So I think that's why he's covered his back there. But yeah, really disappointing news. I think what's so disappointing about Okafor at this moment as well is, and I don't know if you people agree with this, but like I watch him week in, week out, and I think he's been building up to a top performance. Like he's been getting better and better weeks. The first weeks when he came in, I think we saw against Sheffield Wednesday, and I think we're all sort of thinking, oh no, what have we bought here? And then since that point, he sort of just got better and better and better. He got stronger. He started, winning his duels. He started running behind. He started running with the ball. He looked like the winger that I'm like, you're looking at it and you're going, I know where I bought him now. He's got a lot to his game. He's powerful. He's strong. He's quick. He's scoring goals for us. And it's just like, it just feels like it's come at the worst time. And it's annoying, because why do we keep getting injuries when when we're not even playing him? Like if he went to Switzerland and got injured, I'd be frustrated. But when he's not even gone to international break, how are we still getting injuries? Like, how did James get injured as well? In the same respect, in training, it's just frustrating. But yeah, so let's start anyway by talking a bit about sort of tomorrow, because I think that's where people are going to get into sort of look at it, and then we'll discuss stuff like the transfer window and we should have gone wrong in January and stuff. So let's get a bit of a team graphic up now so you can actually see. This is what I'm now looking at for the game. One thing to note as well, by the way, is that Lyle Foster is now available for Burnley as well, which is just brilliant. So he's now starting up front for them. As you can see, I've replaced Broya because I think Foster will start. But as you can see, this is now the Leeds United front three. I can't see another way around this, in my opinion. I've seen people discussing the idea of a 5-back. I don't like a 5-back. We'll put a 5-back up actually, and I'll explain why I don't like a 5-back. So let's go get Biol and bring him in. So say we went 5-back, so you'd probably go Biol in the middle, you'd probably go Struijk on the left, you'd obviously put Goodmanson up a bit higher, put Bogle up a bit higher. I think you'd still go with the flat three midfield, personally. I think that's the way you go with it. And then obviously you drop one of these two, potentially both. So let's say you drop both, because I think what I've seen most is people going with Nemecha, and where is he, Nemecha? Let's find him. There he is. Nemecha and Calvert-Lewin up front. The reason I don't like this formation, and the reason I will never like a 5-3-2, especially of all the 5-backs, is the full-backs. This has been a nightmare for ages. I remember England doing this. I don't know if people remember this when you're watching England. But under Southgate, the first tournament we had, when we played, I can't remember where the World Cup was. It was in Brazil. But we played and we got to the semi-final and we got knocked out by Croatia. And one of the main things that we did in that tournament is we played a 5-3-2. Kane and Stern, I think, played up front. And we played Ali and Lingard and a few others in midfield. But the main problem we saw is the fullbacks. They had a lad called Vasalko at fullback, did Croatia. And to score their first goal against us, he whipped a cross in from about this area. And obviously Perisic scored a goal from here. This is the problem, you see, because constantly when you play this formation, I always find you're all right in midfield because you're 3-on-3 midfield, so this will be absolutely fine. It's out wide. It's constantly out wide. Who marks Hartman? That's, for example, who marks Walker? Because what ends up happening is Goodmanson jumps on to their winger there. I can't pronounce that name, but Goodmanson jumps onto their winger there. And then what happens is Walker's got the freedom of the outside. This is what happens with a 5-back. This is why I don't like it. Or, alternatively, Struijk jumps on here, and then you play 3-on-3 with your centre halves, and you don't have the spare man at the back, which I don't like either. Because then if anyone make a mistake, there's no one to cover. So if Foster turns Biol, he's in, which is why I don't like it. So the only way, for me, the only time you play a 5-back is when, it's like when Daniel Farke said it, and Daniel Farke talked about this, which is that, not Daniel Farke, I remember Bielsa saying this, because he used to go to a 5-back at times. It's when they play 2 up front. Because if they go 2 up front, then you can sort of get away with it, because then you can be, if you go 2 up front, then you need to have the 2 versus 3 at the back, which is why when they play 1 up front, you have the sort of 1 versus 2 with Roden and Struijk there, as you can see. But yeah, that is my failure with the 5 at the back. I just think that their fullbacks constantly are going to be an issue. Anthony Hartman would be a big problem if we set up like that. I agree we should stick with the 4. Yeah, I completely agree. I completely agree. And I get the fact that that people don't want Aaronson and Harrison in the team. I get that. It's just that what we're going to do on defensive transitions when basically Walker and Hartman just get the freedom of the park. So I just don't like it. The only way you could do it, if you're going to do it, is that you go 1 up front, like this. So you go Calvert-Lewin up front, and then you put, I don't know, let's say Tanaka in here, in this pocket. And then you put, let's say Harrison over here. And you go something like this in a 3-4-3. You'd obviously have to drop one of these midfielders. So you'd maybe drop Stack, and you go like this. I don't hate this, but again, the other problem with doing this is you struggle in midfield, because then you've got a 3-on-2 constant in the midfield. Now, naturally, I'd play Tanaka so he can cover that role slightly, but I still don't like it. I still don't think it offers a lot. So I would stick with what we know. The other thing to mention with the 5-back as well, which I don't like, is Daniel Farke's not a 5-at-the-back manager. I remember him playing it once away at Chelsea, and they got beat about 7-0, did Norwich. I just don't like it. I just don't think it works. So as I said, for me, I would stick to what we know. And I know that likes of Harrison and of course Aaronson on the wings is not ideal. I completely get that, and I completely agree with anyone saying that. It's just it doesn't work for me fully. Let's get this atrocity back. So let's take him out, and let's get, who do we need? We need Stack. Where's Stack gone? He's a bit of a higher number, isn't he? Let's go grab him. Where is he? Stack. Am I going past him? Let's have a look. Stack, there it is. So that, yes, I think you stick with this formation. My main concern though now with with Okafor out is when you want to change the game and when you want to go to a different way, how do you do it? Because I don't see a way now to change this game. Like, if Aaronson's having a poor game, who do you move off the bench? Like, where do you go? Because we haven't got anyone else. Do you bring Sam Chambers on? I think he might be in the squad tomorrow. He's the only person to play out wide. Do you push Bodo on and play him on the right wing? All of these options I just don't really like. I don't know. I think it's tricky now. I think it's really tricky. Anyway, let's get into some of your guys' comments. We're gonna have to play. With the hand we've been dealt. Am I mad in saying I'd take a point? I don't know, Jack. I don't know. I don't think, I said this on my preview, I don't think a point's horrendous. I do think it's a game that we've got to target for points in. I think the annoying thing about this Okafor situation, yes, Okafor missing is a nightmare, but it's not just Okafor missing, it's the game that he's missing for. This is a really good opportunity for Leeds United to pick up points. We all know it's a really good opportunity for Leeds United to pick points. So to play the game with your probably fourth and fifth choice wingers is just a nightmare. Because in my head, our winger selection really should be Okafor number 1, Nonto number 2, James number 3. They're our top 3 wingers. They're all out. So you're playing with your fourth and fifth choice wingers. And it's just frustrating that, yes, injuries happen and everyone has injuries. I get that completely. But it annoys me that it's happened in a game where we just desperately need to break a team down and we desperately need to score goals and we need to win. Like, if we're going into the game against Man City away with Aaronson and Harrison, I'm more like, all right, okay, fine. That's not ideal, but, you know, that's what we've got to do. But with this particular game where we can actually get points in, to have them missing for this and it being such a big game is really frustrating. I think a point would be decent, to be fair, Jack, says Mark. Considering the injuries, it looks like that way, Mark. Annoying because these are games where we should be definitely be targeting maximum points on paper. Yeah, no, I agree. Paul says, all the best for you, Scott. Thank you, mate. Be good to see Biol in a back 3. Makes you more of a threat from set pieces. Yeah, that is true. That is a good point, actually. Yeah, that is a good point. The only thing is, if you're going to play a back 3, Mark, you're probably going to take out stacking your midfield, potentially. Or you're going to go, as I said... But you could just go set piece FC and I'll throw Nomecha and Calvert-Lewin up front and really, really target them set pieces. So that could be a shout. I just don't think you need to do it because the only reason you go 5 back is if you're really worried about their front line as well. I'm not really worried about their front line. Jaden Nantes has a good start to the season. I think scores 4 goals. Lyle Foster, I think, scored 2, so he's doing okay. But this is not a potent Burnley team. We don't need to go 2. We don't need 3 centre halves up against Lyle Foster personally. I really don't think we do. But Lyle Foster, it's just coming back from an injury. So I'm not fully on board with that, in truth. But it is frustrating, as I said, because this is such a good game to target. I think the only way I'd go 5 at the back, if we're ending this 5 at the back conversation here, is there is a possibility that they go 5 at the back. And we talked about this in the preview. If they go with Josh Laron in the back 5, let's go grab him. If they go with Josh Laron here and go to a back 5 like this, and then obviously drop Hannibal Mabry probably, I would argue you could maybe match them up in a 5 back then, maybe. But still, I want us to Leeds United to play our game. So I wouldn't go with it even still. I don't like the 5 back as a blanket statement, in truth. So I won't go with it regardless. But I think that would be the only scenario where it makes any sort of sense, in my opinion. So let's go get Hannibal Mabry back. Where has he gone? These players keep disappearing. There he is. Let's go grab him. So yeah, I think that's how we will line up. But yeah, really, really bad news. Because as I said, these are 2 games. And if he misses the West Ham game as well, just a nightmare. But let's talk a bit about, let's shut this down and talk a bit more about sort of Okafor and the situation at the moment and the transfers and everything that goes in with that. We'll just get into some of your comments first. Oh, and I think I'm all caught up, actually. But yeah, let me grab my notes up again. But yeah, with Okafor, I think that, because I think the first question in everyone's mind with Okafor is sort of, do you blame the recruitment? And I think this is something that's going to bang on all season. And as I said, I think this has been a pending conversation for a while now. Obviously, we know that Calvert-Lewin and Okafor have been sort of terrible for injuries over the last few years. We also know that Leeds United fitness department have kept players fit, the likes of Solomon. There's loads of players they've kept fit, as we know. So there is a sort of flip side to this. But I do think personally we left ourselves short in the attack. I think we said it in the summer. We talked about we need to Harry Wilson. We were talking, by the way, if people remember, on deadline day about getting 2 in. It was about needing 2 attackers. We didn't get 1. So yeah, fundamentally we are short. And I think letting Ramazani now looks a bit daft because Obviously, Ramazani would play in this game. Obviously, he's injured at the moment, so he wouldn't, but he might not have been injured had he been playing for Leeds. But even if he had been playing for Leeds, I actually still don't think, by the way, that Daniel Farke would have started him. I think people will think that's mad. I think that people go, yeah, but he's better than Harrison, he's better than Aaronson. I agree, but I don't think Daniel Farke does, and I don't think Daniel Farke would trust him to play at Burnley away. He didn't trust him last year to play at Burnley away, so I don't see him trusting him this year. So yeah, I agree that Ramazani would have been useful for Leeds United at some point and at some stage, especially in the crisis we're in out wide at this moment in time. I think this is when Ramazani would have been very useful, because if we are, say, losing the game 1-0 in the 80th minute, it would be nice to bring on someone who has the sort of wild card in them that obviously Ramazani does have, as we know. But we just don't have that option now, and we didn't expect that three of our best wingers were all going to be injured at the same time, which I do get in the same respect. Like I think one thing we're forgetting about this situation is it is slightly unlucky. Like it's not very often that you actually have all three of your main wingers all injured at the same time. That is slightly unfortunate. Now, as I said, obviously people will point to the fact that Okafor is injury prone, and I get that. And Nonto, to be fair, has been injury prone, I think, for the last few years. He really has. But I don't think James has massively, to be fair. So I do think that's unfortunate. But yeah, I think that is the situation with Leeds. Truthfully, Okafor, nightmare situation, worst time, most important game. Need him, but it is what it is. And I think, but I think already now we're setting up if we do lose the game. Daniel Farke's got an instant out. I think that's what they'll use straight away. But we're struggling out wide. We've already got a lack of quality. We know we said this a lot already this season. The lack of quality that Leeds United possess. I know it drives people like PSF and stuff absolutely mad. It drives me mad a bit. I don't like this underdog mentality. I just want us to play and I feel like we belong in the Premier League. I don't like the underdog structure. I don't like it. I don't think it's right. But that's the way Daniel Farke sort of talks, and that's the way Daniel Farke progresses himself and as I said, talks in interviews. But he's definitely going to have an easy out in this game, isn't he? That will be his out 100%. Oh yeah, well we're struggling with injuries and we've got a lack of flair, but you'd expect that when three wingers are out. So I guess that is the situation. But yeah, that is Okafor and the current situation sort of wrapped up. Also, I forgot to mention at the start, by the way, this is, of course, the Friday night show. So if you want to move on topics and get on to other things, obviously we'll get through the news as always. But if you want to get into different topics later in the video, that's why I love the Friday 8 o'clock show. It's the best show of the week for me because we get into other sort of topics later on in the video. BMG says, hi Scott, I missed the start. Is Okafor definitely out? Yeah, he is, mate. Romano put out a tweet saying he'd be out for 7 to 10 days. And he put that out today, so he's definitely out, yeah. I haven't seen anyone else mention it, but yeah, Romano has tweeted it. So yeah, it will be true. Mr. White says BMG. But yeah, BMG, I've seen BMG in a lot of chats, I agree. No, I'm joking. But anyway, let's move on to the next story. Easy says, Farke was never good at winning away games, so I don't expect to beat Burnley, unfortunately. Yeah, I think it's going to be tricky now. I think we needed firepower up front, and it's a shame because I liked Okafor in the form that he was in. I think he was getting better and getting stronger week on week, and I think this is going to push him back to ground zero a bit, but I guess it's just what you got to deal with at times, isn't it? Anyway, let's move on to and talk a bit about this man, who is a guy called Jens Petter Hauge, who's been linked to Leeds United. Now, this is coming in from Graeme Bailey, who's up and down with, I think, sources. He gets some things right. I think he gets a lot of it from agents, so it is one of them where it's a bit sort of, sometimes is it an agent trying to force a move for a player, or they actually linked to Leeds United? I think that's something to definitely question at this moment. But, yeah, he has been linked. He's one of them players that, as many now as the likes of Pellegrini, the likes of Zielinski. Well, this is another player to put in the pot. To give you an underrating to what he is, he's a left winger, scores a lot of goals. He actually came through the AC Milan Academy, and he was quite a sort of well-known player at that level. Obviously plays under Knutson now at Bodo Glimt as well. For me, a fantastic coach, Knutson. I remember watching his team sort of play really well against Man United a few years ago. And obviously recently they came up against Spurs in the Champions League, and he had a great time. He scored 2 goals in that game. He got a brace. In the league, he's been a bit sort of up and down. He's managed 21 starts in 2025. He scored 6 goals, got 2 assists. So not awful, but obviously you've got to bear in mind this is the Norwegian league. So how that relates to a Premier League campaign, I would question. One thing I think you've got to say, obviously, with Jens Petter Hauge is that this is a guy coming in from the Norwegian league. And I think this is something we've got to bear in mind. I don't like the idea of this because of that. We talked like a few days ago about Spurs and the fact that I don't think he should come in because he's coming in from a league, and maybe that would be a signing more for the summer because we want an instant impact in January. And I think again you could label this at Jens Petter Hauge. I think again I don't think, in my personal opinion, this is a signing for a January window. Is he going to come into this Leeds United team, start and score goals immediately? And the other thing I want to say with him as well is I don't quite think he's the right profile for us at this moment in time. I really don't. He's a left winger who's right-footed. It's what we've got in abundance. We've got Noah Okafor, we've got Nonto, we've got arguably James. I know James plays more on the right, but he's a right-footed winger. We've got, of course, Aaronson, who's right-footed as well. So we don't need another right-footed winger. I think when you're looking at a team structure, I would like to bring in a left-footed right winger. That is what I want. I think that would offer something different. When we looked at Harry Wilson, that's what he offered, more of a sort of someone who can play through the lines a bit more, take a free kick, that sort of thing. I think that sort of player, that sort of left-footed player on the right-hand side would offer something more in a system than another left-footed right winger or right-footed left winger. I just don't think that matches up personally, in my opinion. Let's get into some of our guys' comments. Farke has a 56% win-loss. Yeah, he does. Okafor, but a lot of that, Mr. White's Nick, of course, is in the Championship, which is a completely different level, naturally. Okafor out and Aaronson maybe jet-lagged. A back three could let Bogle and Gabby do the wingers' jobs and maybe play Perot and Nemecha along with DCL. Easy says, Scott, we have Pro who can score, but Farke has convinced many of our fans, including you, that Pro is not Premier League player, which is a lot of nonsense. Disagree. This is a game of opinions, of course. My opinion always with Pro is his off-the-ball work is dreadful. It is horrendous. He's physically not capable. This is not a slag on Pro. This is the sort of player he is. He's a good finisher. He's good with his left foot. He's actually quite good with his right foot. He's clever inside the box. That is it. His rest of his game. Easy. Can you tell me what happens when the ball goes long to Pro? Can you tell me what happens to him? Because I can tell you what happens against any centre-back in the league. They just bully him and they win the ball back and they come straight back at us. We'll get the team graphic back up and I'll show you what I mean. So, if you play with Perot up front, this is what ends up happening. Because at times we do this anyway. So I'll go grab Perot now for this. This is obviously my opinion. But say Pascal Strout's got it, and we know Pascal Strout likes to go long a lot of the time. So if he goes long into Perot there, what ends up happening is Perot gets bullied by Twanzebe, wins the ball, and then it goes straight back into Florentino or Cullen, and they come straight back at us. If you put Calvert-Lewin up front, in the reverse side, Calvert-Lewin usually beats the player here, in the air, and then we get a knockdown and the ball ends up in around this zone, and you can see Aaronson pick it up, you can see Harrison pick it up, Stack a lot of the time gets in this position and picks it up as well. He's just much better to play off. That is the problem, and we can't afford. I agree with you that Pro is a good finisher. I completely agree. But we can't, we need someone, we need the ability to be able to go long. And with Pro up front, we can't go long. We just cannot do it. So for me, it's never going to work. The only time I think it could work is actually today, is actually tomorrow. Because if we are going to go 5 at the back, in my personal opinion, and we could go with Perot and Calvert-Lewin up front. And then, of course, the ball goes long to Perot. Where is he? I've lost Perot again now. Where is he? Where's he gone? Where's Perot gone? That's Perry. There's so many names. Where is he? Oh, I can't find him. We'll pretend it's him, or we'll go with Gruev. So say it doesn't really matter anyway. So say the ball goes up long to Calvert-Lewin here. If he knocks it down, you could get Perot in here. Where is Perot? I hate using him. Where's Perot? Have I thrown him down here somewhere? There he is. Yeah, so say we do go 5 at the back. You could do this. This is the only way it could work. I think this potentially could work. If you went long into Calvert-Lewin and then you've got Perot for the knockdown, potentially that works. He don't work as a solo striker, though. He don't work as a solo striker. It's ironic that the centre-back was most people's most urgent need in the summer. We signed Beal on board now, and up till now, we've not used either. I know it's crazy. I actually disagreed with that, though, at the time, BMG. I never thought that we should be going for a centre-back in the summer. Like, not that... did you sell Perot? Not that we didn't need a centre-back. I think we did. It was just that we've just got priorities. And I think, Like, I look at our front line tomorrow, and one of the worst things I can say about the recruitment team at this moment in time is we're going in tomorrow with a front three that we wouldn't have accepted in the Championship. The wingers of Aaronson and Harrison, we would have been going mad if that was picked in the Championship. Last year, we had 4 better wingers than that. 4. We had Solomon, who's better than them. And it sort of questioned, should we have brought Solomon back? We had Solomon, we had Nonto, we had Dan James, and we had Ramazani. All 4 of them, for me, are better than Jack Harrison, and the better than Aaronson on the wing. So we're playing last season, this would have been our 5th and 6th choice winger combination. That's how bad it's going to be at the weekend. That's why I'm seriously now worried about this game, because I think Okafor gives you that X factor. I don't think we do otherwise. Why do we still bang about Pro? Why do we still bang the Pro drum? He's physically inept for this league. Brilliant finisher, but that's about it. It was like playing with a 10 at Arsenal. I completely agree. We can't win if we don't score, says Easy. Yeah, I know that, but to get to score a goal though, Easy, you can't just. How does Pro get a chance? Because the ball's never up there, is it? Because he's never going to get there, because he's never going to win the ball when it goes up to him. That's the issue. If it's Pro here and he's got a chance to score, I agree with you. But he'll never get that chance, because like we saw in the first few games, he don't get that opportunity, because the ball never gets there, because when the ball goes long, he loses it. You can't just be a finisher in the Premier. You've got to be more. You've got to have a better all-round game. That's my opinion. I just don't think it works. And I think we saw in the early games when we played Pro up front, the Arsenal game was horrendous. Now, I know Arsenal are a good team, and I know Saliba's a good centre-back, and he is, and they're the best 2 centre-backs in the league for me. I know Van Dijk's better, but as a partnership, them 2 are better. But I just don't think it works. I really don't. He'll go with this. He'll go with this tomorrow. Where's Aaronson gone? There he is. Anyway, let's get to more guys' comments. So why don't we add Biol and Pirot to your graphic? Drop Aaronson and Harrison and push the fullbacks to wingbacks. So why don't we add Biol and Pirot to your graphic? Biol and Pirot. Yeah, and drop Aaronson and Harrison. Yeah, I just don't like it. I just don't like it. I actually talked about a 5-back earlier in the video, BMG, and I just don't think it's right. Finding Pirot then was like, where's Wallet? And I agree. It just doesn't work. It's a shame, because he's done a lot for Leeds as Pro. He's got us promoted. He's done well, but it's just not going to be the situation, is it? I think, unfortunately, it's not going to be a situation. But yeah, that's where we're at. I think that's probably where I will leave the video. We've gone on for 27 minutes. I'm really warm, and I don't know why. I think it's because I was back from the gym before I did this, but. Yeah, truthfully, the news is pretty devastating. I've got to be honest with Okafor. But I will leave the video there. Thanks all for watching. As always, if you are watching now, go back to the start and you can watch the rest of it. Or if you don't want to, that is obviously absolutely fine. And also, if you've got to this point, if you could drop a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And of course, tomorrow, Leeds United are back. Get in. So there will be a match reaction. I might be regretting saying that full time if we get beat. Saying that, thank God Leeds United are back. I might quote that if we do win. But yeah, Leeds United are back, so I will be having a match reaction live straight after the game. Obviously, there's a lot of people doing match reactions live, so if you want to jump on other people's first, I get it. The only thing I would say is I have a smaller audience, so, you know, it makes it easy to get your comments in if you want them read. No, I'm joking. But, yeah, I shall see you all later, everybody.